What is up, everybody? It's Revv time. I hope you're all doing well. You guys ever try that kind of stuff? I call it completely fake and drunken pedal steel playing. Or that's what pedal steel players would call it if they caught me trying to do it. But I have on rare occasion done it on sessions when we didn't have a pedal steel player available, but they just needed some, fills here and there. It's really fun. And it's honestly not that hard, especially when you roll your volume back up. Now, before I get into the technique on it, you don't have to have them. But what you're hearing right now is reverb off of the amp. I'm using my 120 on the clean channel. I've got the bright switch on. I've got it dialed fairly bright, chimey. I would highly recommend using some sort of compressor. Right now I'm using the little the Cali 76, which is my favorite by Origin Effects. I don't have it on camera. Maybe I'll throw up an inset shot somewhere so you guys can see it. But I think you know what those are. They're based on the 1176. Is one of my favorite kind of studio grade compressors. I'm using that just to kind of fatten things up and make the notes obviously ring longer. If I shut it off, it still sounds sweet. I mean, the amp is carrying it, but really that sound, the pedal steel thing or even the lap steel thing, you really do kind of need a compressor. Okay, and you absolutely need a volume pedal. If I didn't mention that, that's on the floor here in front of me. You guys would not want to see my bare foot on top of it. It's just not pretty. You guys know what a volume pedal does. I mean, I could probably climb a palm tree with those toenails. So we're just not going to do that. But yes, you do want to be able to swell into the notes. Now, what makes it work is you do have to have a guitar with a trem arm that stays in tune fairly well. This one's kind of been through the ringer. This is a great guitar, but it needs some love. There's some pilot to aircraft maintenance issues that have not been addressed in a while. But, it's working. If she goes out of tune a little bit, I'll hit the tuner. But it helps to have, a guitar that stays in tune pretty well, a trem that feels pretty good, not a lot of play in the bar. It doesn't have to pull way back, but it does need to be floating, because that's the whole thing. When you think of a pedal steel player, when they swell into something, they shake the bar, right? And it shakes all of the notes. Sometimes they don't do that. Some of them will just shake parts of it, but usually they're going to shake the whole chord. And that's what you need to be able to do. I mean, you could try and do it with your fingers, but it's just not going to translate as well. And the other reason you want the bar is you want to be able to do what I call kind of the swoop. When pedal players start up tall, they'll play, and then if they're going the other way, there's always that kind of swoop as they're bringing the bar down to the next chord and swelling in. So you want, obviously you're going to need a trem arm to do that. And I'm doing just a basic chord progression, you know. That kind of thing, you know, to the 5 chord, just to kind of keep it really, really simple. So let's start with the most basic kind of pedal steel kind of trick, and then I'll show you a harmonic, because I think you guys can just pretty much take it from there, but it's all double stops, obviously. So let's do key of A, and we'll start, you know, a double stop. Now you don't want to do the double stop like this. You're going to get in trouble. I usually, if I'm going to do things like that, I always use, you know, my 3rd and 4th fingers, B string, E string, 5th fret. And maybe just to start, just practice swelling into it. And just shaking the bar. And then the next thing you're going to want to practice is moving that, what would be the 5th of the chord in the key of A, up to basically the 6th, which would be there. So you'll go. And that'll help you get kind of your pitch center, and then maybe start going, once you can do it in tune. And then if you want to do the same exact move in the same key, just go up to D. But when you resolve here. And then you saw there how I kind of faked it a little bit so we could get to the resolve without it being such an obvious fret move, is I just basically swooped down on the bar. And, you know, so once you get that down, that would be the next thing to do, is just practice doing, you know, like kind of a swooper. It's not a dive bomb, it's maybe a full step. Because that's a big part of it. So once you start just playing the thirds, you know, like, you know, we all know this one. You can do the same thing. So I basically just went. So, you know, you guys can do this. It's not rocket science, it's just kind of a technique you have to learn. The shapes and things that I'm showing you are not hard. You guys already know all this stuff. It's really just, you know, getting tricky with the... And then the last thing I want to show you is the harmonic thing that I do. All that is it's you know, you're doing harmonics. So we're in the key of A. You would tap, you're not going to tap, but you're going to do a harmonic at the octave above that. And then a 5th above that would be around here. So if you use the same technique where you swell into each note, well, sorry, let me back up. You're going to have to go. But we're just doing the same thing I just taught you, this. I'm just doing a harmonic now. And that sounds really pretty even if you don't swell into it. That's a very typical pedal steel kind of trick. But you can also swell into it. And even if you miss, it'll still sound cool, but... It's kind of it's just a cool trick that'll kind of make, you know, the guys in the band turn their heads. Even if you're playing some like ethereal, dark, like emo song, you know, put on some cool effects and do... It'll still sound cool. I mean, you can get away with murder doing that kind of stuff. And then it's up to you how elaborate you want to get with, you know... made that one. But that's the thing, you can just kind of play around with it. A lot of it's going to be finger strength. And the other reason you want to be able to shake that bar is on a floating trem, you can kind of hear things drift because, you know, the tension of the bar is moving forward and backwards. But you can kind of hang on to it, especially if you swell into it. It's the whole, that's kind of part of the whole, you know, the trickery. Okay, so items needed: volume pedal, guitar with a tremolo. I would recommend using, for sure, a compressor pedal if you have one available, straight to the front of the amp. The reverb you're hearing is off of the amp, and that does just kind of help hide all the trickery, to be honest with you. And then the delay you're hearing is kind of a little bit longer delay. I don't know what it is. What we got going here? Like 375 milliseconds. And it's just a delay I always use in Pro Tools, digital delay. And that, once again, kind of helps hide the trickery and make it sound, you know, like a pedal steel. And obviously all of that stuff, you guys know this. But for the ones that may not, you always want to make sure that all of your delay and reverb is you know, after the volume pedal. So when you pull back on it, you're not cutting off your delays and verbs as well. So I just thought this might be kind of a fun one to show you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if there might be guys that already do this, and I know there's guitar player cats that like murder this stuff. I'm serviceable at best when it comes to this, but yeah, if there's any of you guys doing it, let me know you know, what you're using and how you're doing it. And if you're not, you know, give it a try and let me know how it went in the comments. All right, you guys, see you next time.